Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhasam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
So thank you very much inviting me to your wonderful association. So anybody have any questions to begin with?
Naveen Prabhu, you had some question yesterday, right? You want to ask the question?
Oh, I mean, that's the question regarding, I'm very near to you.
Yesterday, Prabhu had a question. What is Acintya-bhedābheda-tattva?
Oh, I thought we covered that already.
No, Prabhu, we haven't covered that any time.
Oh, really? Yeah. Maybe some other classes.
They know the definition, but they want more examples. I gave one example, but they want more examples.
So Acintya-bheda, this is simultaneously one and different, you know. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's what we say, his kind of a philosophy, you know. Means simultaneously one and different. Right? Hmm? So it is explained here. You can see here. Not only is mind, but according to Vedic legend, each planet is called time. Each planet. On those days. Why it is called Vedic? Because actually it is island of the air. So you want to read that?
Madhu Prabhu, can you read?
Yeah, sure, Mataji. The real Vedic philosophy is Acintya-bhedābheda-tattva, which establishes everything to be simultaneously one with a different personality of Godhead. Srila Raghunath Dasa Goswami confirms that this is the real position of a bona fide spiritual master and says that one should always think of the spiritual master in terms of his intimate relationship with Mukunda, Sri Krishna. Srila Jaya Goswami, in his Bhakti Sandarbha, has clearly explained that a pure devotee's observation of the spiritual master and Lord Shiva as being one with the personality of Godhead, in terms of their being very dear to the Lord, not identical with him in all respects, following in the footsteps of Srila Raghunatha Dasa. Mataji, can Raghunath Dasa Goswami and Srila Jiva Goswami. Later, Acharyas like Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura have confirmed the same truths. In his prayers to the spiritual master, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura confirms that all the revealed scriptures accept the spiritual master, the personality of Godhead, because he is a clear and confidential servant of the Lord. Gaudiya Vaishnavas therefore worship Srila Gurudeva, the spiritual master, in the light of his being the secret of the personality of Godhead. In all the ancient literatures of service and in the most recent songs of Srila Narottama Das Thakura, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura, Bhaktivinoda Thakura and other unalloyed Vaishnavas, the spiritual master is always considered either one of the confidential associates of Srimati Radharani or a manifested representation of Sri Hare Krishna.
Got it? So this is the meaning of Acintya-bhedābheda, simultaneously one and different. So our philosophy is we are one with the Lord in quality, but we are not one with Him in quantity. You know? You want to read this?
Naveen Prabhu, can you read that?
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Srila Bhakti Sadhana Saraswati Thakur remarks that impersonalists imagine some form of the absolute truth through the direct perception of their senses. The impersonalists worship such imaginary forms, but neither Srimad Bhagavatam nor Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepts this sense gratificatory worship to be of any spiritual significance. The mayavadis imagine themselves to be the supreme. They imagine that the supreme has no personal form and that all his forms are imaginary, like the will or the wish of a flower in the sky. Both mayavadis and those who imagine forms of God are misguided. According to them, worship of the, can you please scroll up?
1 second. Prabhu is on the phone.
Prabhu, can you scroll down?
Sorry.
again in the form of the Lord.
Little bit scroll up.
Little above.
Deities or any other form of the Lord is a result of the conditioned soul's illusion. However, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu
Okay. Go ahead, Prabhu.
confirms the conclusions of Srimad Bhagavatam on the strength of his philosophy of Acintya-bhedābheda-tattva. That philosophy holds that the Supreme Lord is simultaneously one with and different from his creation. That is to say, there is unity in diversity. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proved the importance of fruitive workers, speculative, empiric philosophers, and mystic yogis. The realization of such men is simply a waste of time and energy. Set the example, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally visited the temples in various holy places. Whether he visited, he wherever he visited, he immediately exhibited his ecstatic love to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When a Vaishnava visited the temple of a demigod, his vision of that demigod is different from the vision of the impersonalist and mayavadi. The Brahma Samhita supports this. A Vaishnava's visit to the temple of Lord Shiva, for example, is different from the non-devotee's visit. The non-devotee considers the deity of the Lord Shiva is an imaginary form because he ultimately thinks that the supreme absolute truth is void. However, a Vaishnava sees Lord Shiva as being simultaneously one with and different from the Supreme Lord. In this regard, the example of milk and yogurt is given. Yogurt is actually nothing but milk, but at the same time, it is not milk. It is simultaneously one with milk, yet different from egg. This is the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it is confirmed by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 9:4. Maya tatanam idanam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina mathani sarva bhutani nachana janma tesu avyasthita. By me and my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. The absolute truth, God, is everything, but this does not mean that everything is God. For this reason, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers visited the temples of all the demigods, but they did not see them in the same way an impersonalist see them. Everyone should follow in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and visit all temples. Sometimes mundane sahajiyas supposed to the gopis visited the temple of Katyayani in the same way mundane people visit the temple in the temple of Devi. However, the gopis prayed to Katyayani to grant them Krishna as their husband, whereas mundaners visit the temple of Katyayani to receive some material. Can you please scroll down? Profit. This is the difference between the Vaishnava's visit and a non-devotee's visit. Not understanding the process of discipline succession, so-called logicians put forward the theory of Panchapasana, Pan, Pankopasana, in which a person worships one of the five deities, namely Vishnu, Shiva, Durga, the sun god of or Ganesha. In this conception, the impersonalists imagine one of these five deities and supreme and reject the others. Such philosophical speculation, which is certainly idol worship, is not accepted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. or by Vaishnavas. This imaginary deity worship has recently been transformed into mayavada impersonalism. For what of Krishna consciousness, people are victimized by mayavada philosophy. Unconsciously, they sometimes become staunch aesthetic atheists. However, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established the process of self-realization by his own personal behavior, as stated in the Chaitanya Charitra Madhya 8.274. Tavara Jaganama Dekhe Na Dekhe Tara Murti Sarvatra Haya Nija Ishtha Devas Phurti. A Vaishnava never sees the material form of anything, moving or non-moving. Rather, everywhere he looks, he sees the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and immediately he remembers the transcendental form of the Lord.
So is it quite clear about what is Acintya-bhedābheda-tattva?
Not really clear, but I could understand two things. One is inclusive and exclusive form. So the example which I could read or understand was given as curd and milk. So source of curd is going to be milk, but when at a given point of view, they are different, and but they are together as well. Still confused.
Correct. Simultaneously one and different. You understand? One in the sense that they are coming from milk, yogurt and milk. But different is that milk has got different function and yogurt got different function. Same way we are all one with God in quality, but in quantity we are different. God is almighty, He's expanded everywhere. But we are very minute. Understand? Gold got qualities of gold is the same in the mind or is the small portion. But gold in the small portion is minute, whereas gold in the mind is big quantity, Nonetheless, they are all gold.
Okay.
Understand? Yeah?
Yeah.
Similarly, like that. So this is the philosophy. Simultaneously one, but different, Acintya-bhedābheda-tattva, inconceivable also. You cannot conceive these things because God is an inconceivable personality, Not possible to conceive God. He is beyond, our speculation. We can't figure him out. Not possible. Says here, see the word here, Achinta, is inconceivable. Achintya means inconceivable. That's one of the qualities of God, You want to read?
Sure. Translation.
Please.
One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is the inconceivable beyond all material conceptions, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond the material nature.
Yes, he is inconceivable. Hello. We cannot try to figure him out with our limited intelligence. It's not possible. Because of that, that's the quality of God,
Ram Prabhu, can you read?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. O king, no one can know the plan of the Lord Sri Krishna, even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they are bewildered.
See this point? You cannot figure him out, you know. Not possible because he's inconceivable.
Ram Prabhu?
This Sri Krishna is none other than the inconceivable original personality of Godhead. He is the first Narayana, the supreme enjoyer, but by bewildering us with self-created energy, he is moving among the descendants of King Vrishni, just like one of us.
So this is God, you know. God, one of his qualities is that he is inconceivable. You cannot understand him, you cannot figure, unless he reveals himself to the devotee. Then yes, the devotee can understand him, his inconceivable plans. You follow? You understand this now?
Yes, Prabhu.
Huh? That's why Arjuna also said in the Bhagavad Gita, you know, he told Arjuna what are his plans, you know. He said, I have come, you know, time I am destroyer of the world, you know. So he has come to execute his plan. So he says here in 11, he's telling Arjuna, this help read.
The supreme,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
the supreme personality of Godhead said, "Time I am the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain."
So see, he's disclosing his plan to Arjuna. So that's the difference, you know, between God and us. We, you know, I make plans, you make plan, but what God makes plan works, you know. Can you read on, please?
Yeah. Therefore, get up, prepare to fight and win glory, conquer your enemies, and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savya Sachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
So you see that by my arrangement is the plans of the Lord, you know. So the Lord, he comes to, you know, run things, everything according to his plans. But we, you know, we are caught in this material world. So we have to act according to material desires, three modes of material nature.
Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight and you will vanquish your enemies in battle.
You see how the plan of the Lord has been already foretold. This inconceivable plan. So Krishna, his inconceivable personality. How he does things, we cannot understand. So I guess I have explained that.
Yes. Prabhu.
What are the other questions? What's the difference between Suddha Sattva and Visuddha Sattva? So this verse is there in the Bhagavatam, spoken by Lord Shiva in the fourth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It says here in this verse, Sattvam Visuddham Vasudeva Sabditam. Suddham Acintya-bhedābheda. Suddham Can I not finding it? Give me a minute. It's in the fourth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Lord Shiva is, yeah, it is 4:3:23. Give me a minute, huh? So here, Sattvam Visuddham. Sattvam Visuddham Vasudeva Sabditam. So Sattvam means here translation, consciousness. Visuddha means pure. Huh? So the translation, I'm always engaged in offering obeisance to Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead known as Vasudeva is revealed without any covering. So the Sattva means here, the translation is consciousness. Sattvam also means the mode of goodness, and Visuddha means pure. I mean, pure goodness is the platform, or transcendental position is the platform of. Give me a minute, huh? Hare Krishna. Yeah. Distribute food where? In the temple. No, we don't allow that. No? We only distribute food cooked in the temple. You can sponsor that, and we will cook and distribute on your behalf. Yeah, you can come and do help in the serving, no problem. I am in a class right now. I'm in a overseas call. What's your name? Huh? Vipin Shah. What? Okay, I will contact you. Vipin Shah. Yeah, so 666-77083, right? Okay. So we have the person call you, huh? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So sorry. So the point is this, that when we come to pure consciousness, and that is called the Vasudev Sabditam platform. So when you say Sattvam Vishuddham, I mean it is said to be pure consciousness, Can you read this? Who asked this question?
Prabhu.
Sure. The living entity is constitutionally pure. Asangohyam. Sorry, Asangohi Ayam Purushaha. In the Vedic literature, it is said that the soul is always pure and uncontaminated by material attachment. The identification of the body with the soul is due to misunderstanding. As soon as one is fully Krishna consciousness, it is to be understood that one is his pure, original constitution position. This state of existence is called Shuddha Sattva, which means that it is transcendental to material qualities. Since this Shuddha Sattva existence is under the direct action of the internal potency, in this state, the activities of material consciousness stop. For example, when iron is put into a fire, it it becomes warm, and when red hot, although it is iron, it acts like fire. Similarly, when copper is surcharged with electricity, its action as copper stops. It acts as electricity. Bhagavad Gita 14.26 also confirms that anyone who engages in an unadulterated devotion service to the Lord is at once elevated to the position of pure Brahman. Mam cha vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunarthamaitan. But I can give a little up. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Therefore, Shuddha Sattva as described in this verse is the transcendental position, which is technically called Vasudeva. Vasudeva is also the name of person from whom Krishna appears. This verse explains that the pure state is called Vasudeva because in that state, Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is revealed without any covering. To execute unadulterated devotion service, therefore, one must follow the rules and regulations of devotion service without desire to gain material profit by fruitive activities or mental speculation. In pure devotion service, one simply serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a matter of duty without reason and without being impeded by material conditions. That is called Shuddha Sattva or Vasudeva, because in that state, the Supreme Person Krishna is revealed in the heart of the devotee. Srila Jiva Goswami has very nicely described this Vasudeva or Shuddha Sattva in his Bhagavat Sandarbha. He explains that Ashtottara Shata 108 is added to the name of a spiritual master to indicate one who is situated in Shuddha Sattva or in the transcendental state of Vasudeva. The word Vasudeva is also used for other purposes. For example, Vasudeva also means one who is everywhere or all pervading. The sun is also called Vasudeva Shabditam. The word Vasudeva may be utilized for different purposes, but whatever purpose we adopt, Vasudeva means the all pervading or localized Supreme Personality of God. In Bhagavad Gita, it is also stated Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Factual realization is to understand Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and surrender unto Him. Vasudeva is the ground wherein Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is revealed. When one is free from the contamination of material nature and is situated in pure consciousness or in the Vasudeva state, Vasudeva, the Supreme Person, is revealed. This state is also called Kaivalya, which means pure consciousness. Jnanam Sattvikam Kaivalyam. When one is situated in pure transcendental knowledge, one is situated in Kaivalya. Therefore, Vasudeva also means Kaivalya, a word which is generally used by impersonalists. Impersonal Kaivalya is not the last stage of realization, but in Krishna consciousness, Kaivalya, when one understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one is successful. In that pure state, by hearing, chanting, remembering, etc., because of the development of knowledge of the science of Krishna, development of knowledge of the science of Krishna, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All these activities are under the guidance of the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. The action of the internal potency is also described in this verse, Abhavrataha, free from any covering, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, His name, His form, His quality, His paraphernalia, etc., being transcendental, are beyond material nature. It is not possible to understand any one of them with the materialistic senses. When the senses are purified by the discharge of pure devotional service, Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate, the pure senses can see Krishna without covering. Now, one may inquire that since Factually, the devotee has the same material existential body. How is it possible that the same materialistic eyes become purified by devotional service? The example as stated by Lord Chaitanya is that devotional service cleanses the mirror of the mind. In a clean mirror, one can see one's face very distinctly. Similarly, simply by cleansing the mirror of the mind, one can have a clear conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena. By executing one's prescribed duties in devotional service, Chetasananya Gamina, or simply by hearing about God and chanting about Him. If one's mind is always engaged in chanting and hearing, and is not allowed to go elsewhere, one can realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed by Lord Chaitanya. By the Bhakti Yoga process, beginning from hearing and chanting, one can cleanse the heart and mind, and thus one can clearly see the face of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva said that since his heart was always filled with the conception of Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of the Supreme Lord's presence within his mind and heart, he was always offering obeisances unto the Supreme Godhead. In other words, Lord Shiva is always in trance, samadhi. The samadhi is not under the control of the devotee. It is under the control of Vasudeva. For the entire internal energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead acts under his order. Of course, the material energy also acts by his order, but his direct will is specifically executed through the spiritual energy. Thus, by his spiritual energy, he reveals himself. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita, Sambhavamyatma Mayaya. Atma Mayaya means internal potency. By his sweet will, he reveals himself by his internal potency, being satisfied by the transcendental loving service of the devotee. The devotee never commands, my dear Lord, please come here so that I can see you. It is not the position of the devotee to command the Supreme Personality of Godhead to come before him or to dance before him. There are many so-called devotees who command the Lord to come before them dancing. The Lord, however, is not subject to anyone's command, but if he is satisfied by one's pure devotion service, he reveals himself. Therefore, a meaningful word in this verse is adhokshaja, for it indicates that the activities of our material senses will fail to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One cannot realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead simply by the attempt of one's speculative mind. But if one desires, he can subdue all the material activities of his senses. And the Lord, by manifesting his spiritual energy, can reveal himself to the pure devotee. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead reveals himself to the pure devotee, the devotee has no other duty than to offer him respectful obeisances. The Absolute Truth reveals himself to the devotee in his form. He is not formless. Vasudeva is not formless, for it is stated in this verse that as soon as the Lord reveals himself, the devotee offers his obeisances. Obeisances are offered to a person, not to anything impersonal. One should not accept the mayavada interpretation that Vasudeva is impersonal. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Prapadyate, one surrenders. One surrenders to a person, not to impersonal non-duality. Whenever there is a question of surrendering or offering obeisances, there must be an object of surrender or obeisances.
So I guess Prabhupada very clearly explained.
So Prabhu here, Prabhupada says like Shuddha Sattva is a transcendental situation, transcendental platform. And Visuddha Sattva is the pure consciousness?
Yes. When you come to the pure consciousness, that is called Vasudeva.
Right.
So when you are in the Vasudeva platform, that means you are in the Suddha Sattva platform.
Okay.
So it means the transcendental to material qualities. You understand?
Right. So when we come to Shuddha Sattva, we are automatically in Vishuddha Sattva, Prabhu? Our consciousness is in...
Yes. Okay. Sattvam Vishuddha, Sattvam, Vasudeva, Saptitam. Unless you come to pure consciousness, you cannot see the Lord, no? Not possible, no? Correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
That's why Lord Shiva says this verse, because he's always meditating on the Lord, So this is the same as this verse also in the Bhagavad Gita. Brahma Bhuta Prasnatma na sochite na kanchite samaham sarve bhuteshu mad bhakti labate param. So this is the transcendental position. No? When yeah, please read.
One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me.
So the Brahma Bhuta platform is also the Suddha Sattva, pure consciousness. But the Vasudeva platform means the worshipping of the personal form of the Lord. So that is what it says here, equally disposed every living attains the pure devotional service to me. This is the Vasudeva platform. You follow?
Yes.
So devotional service means you cannot stay in the material platform. So if you want to go to God, then you must come to the Suddha Sattva platform. Otherwise, in the material modes, you cannot actually make spiritual progress. That's why it says in this verse, Mam cha vyabhacharena, Prabhupada quoted.
Prabhu, here in this verse, you say Brahma Bhuta. So Brahma Bhuta stage and Shuddha Sattva stage, both are same?
Yes. We are now in the Jiva Bhuta state. Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. That means we are in the material consciousness. Brahma Bhuta means we are transcendental consciousness.
Okay.
Huh?
Yes, Prabhu.
And this verse. Oh yes, Sri Prabhupada quoted this verse just now. Mamcha vyabhacharena bhakti yogena sevate saguna samati taitan. This is Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So when you practice these rules and regulation unfailingly, then you transcend the modes of material nature and thus come to the level of Brahman. So this is the Brahman Bhuta stage, crossing over the three modes of material nature. See?
Yes, Prabhu.
Unless you cross over the modes of material nature, it's not possible to come to this Suddha Sattva platform. That's also explained here in another verse.
So Prabhu, here it says to come to the Shuddha Sattva platform, unfailingly we have to execute the devotion service.
Yeah, you have to do, you cannot fall down, no?
That means whatever Prabhupada has established, just
If you disobey him, then forget it, no? There's no
Yes.
question of going above anywhere, no? So here you see in this verse, Tapo Devyam Putraka Yena Sattvam Sudayat Yasmat Brahma Saukyam to Anantam. So when you do tapasya, rules and regulation you practice, then these are transcendental rules, not just mundane austerity. You come to the Sattva platform, pure goodness. When you get purified in that stage, you come to Brahma, Saukyam to Anantam. You realize the Brahman, the spiritual platform. You understand?
Yes.
Say one who engage in penance and austerity, they attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified, and when one attains this position, he attains eternal blissful life, which is transcendental to material happiness and which continues forever. So this is the transcendental stage, Transcendental stage, you see this now we're at, Brahma Bhuta Prasnatma. He's always happy, doesn't lament, doesn't hanker. See? So in that blissful stage, you are very happy, serving the Lord. Because they impersonally, they want to merge with the Brahman, but that is temporary, That's not very permanent.
Yes, Prabhu.
So that's not permanent, as Prabhupada many times explained. He anya arvindaksha vimuktamanina tvasta bhavan avishuddha buddhaya arura krishena parampadam tataha patantyadaho nadrita yushmadankraya. So this is the verse you can read, please.
Someone may say that aside from devotees who always seek shelter at Lord's lotus feet, there are those who are not devotees but who have accepted different processes for attaining salvation. What happens to them? In answer to this question, Lord Brahma and the other demigods said, O lotus-eyed Lord, although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated, their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regard for your lotus feet.
So this is the point, is it? Although they may climb to the highest level by their practice of whatever penance and all that, but because they've not taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, then they generally fall down from their position. That's why there's now Sattvam, Visuddham, Vasudeve Sabditam. You must come to the platform of catching the lotus feet of Vasudeva. Then fall down is not there. You follow?
Yes.
So when these people are trying to do so many kind of things, they may think they are very expert and made so much advancement. But because they are not Krishna conscious, therefore they cannot go back. They go to the effulgence. The moment they think of some action, they come back again. You understand?
Yes, Prabhu.
You cannot become successful without worshipping the form of the Lord. That's not possible. You understand?
Yes, Prabhu.
This is not possible at all. Says here also. Without, you can't fix your mind. We don't have the form of the Lord. Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
You want to read that?
Yes, Prabhu. O Lord, cause of all causes, if your transcendental body were not beyond the modes of material nature, one could not understand the difference between matter and transcendence. Only by your presence can one understand the transcendental nature of your Lordship, who are the controller of material nature. Your transcendental nature is very difficult to understand unless one is influenced by the presence of your transcendental form.
So unless you have personalized worship, and that can only be revealed by the spiritual master, then yes, you will make progress. But to do this impersonal thing, it's not possible, very difficult. That's why Krishna also in the Bhagavad Gita says it's impossible, very difficult for the embodied. So is that clear?
Yes, Prabhu.
So his question is, Prabhu, sorry for my ignorance. When you believe in Lord Krishna and chant, why do we need to learn about so many things, So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, So you want to read this?
Nikhil Prabhu, can you read this?
Sure, Prabhu. As a devotee hears more and more about
Or you read the
Supreme Lord,
translation?
or the translation, okay. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved relieved of the miseries and material existence." As a
So you
devotee,
see, yeah, please read.
Yeah, as a devotee hears more and more about Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. The hearing process is recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The messages of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are full of potencies, and these potencies can be realized if topics regarding the Supreme Godhead are discussed amongst devotees. This cannot be achieved by the association of mental speculators or academic scholars, for it is realized knowledge. The devotees are constantly engaged in the Supreme Lord's service. The Lord understands the mentality and sincerity of a particular living entity who is engaged in Krishna consciousness and gives him. Prabhu, can you scroll it down? Gives him the intelligence to understand the science of Krishna and the association of devotees. Discussion of Krishna is very potent, and if a fortunate person has such association and tries to um, assimilate the knowledge, then he will surely make advancement towards spiritual realization. Lord Krishna, in order to encourage Arjuna to higher and higher elevation in his potent service, describes in this ninth chapter matters more confidential than any he has already disclosed. The very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter, is more or less an introduction to the rest of the book, and in the second and third chapters, the spiritual knowledge described is called confidential. Topics discussed in the seventh and eighth chapters are specifically related to devotional service. And because they bring enlightenment in Krishna consciousness, they are called more confidential. But the matters which are described in the ninth chapter deal with unalloyed pure devotion. Therefore, this is called
Most confidential.
therefore this is called the most confidential. One who is situated in the most confidential knowledge of Krishna is naturally transcendental. He therefore has no material pangs, although he is in the material world. In the Rasamsra Sindhu, it is said that although one who has a sincere desire to render loving service to the Supreme Lord is situated in the conditional state of material existence, he is to be considered liberated. Similarly, we shall find in the Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter that anyone who is engaged in that way is a liberated person. Now, this first verse has specific significance. The words idam. Prabhu, can you scroll it? Yeah, thank you. Idam Jnanam, this knowledge, referred to pure devotional service, which consists of 9 different activities: hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, obeying, maintaining friendship, and surrendering everything. By the practice of these 9 elements of devotional service, one is elevated to spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. When one's heart is thus cleared of material contamination, one can understand the science of Krishna. Simply to understand that a living entity is not material is not sufficient. That may be the beginning of spiritual realization. But one should recognize the difference between activities of the body and the spiritual activities of one who understands that he is not the body. In the 7th chapter, we have already discussed the opulent potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his different energies, the inferior and superior natures, and all this material manifestation. Now, in chapter 9, the glories of the Lord will be further delineated. The Sanskrit word Sanasuyave in
Nasuya.
this Sanasuyave in this verse is also very significant. Generally, the commentators, even if they are highly scholarly, are all envious of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the most erudite scholars write on Bhagavad Gita very inaccurately because they are envious of Krishna. Their commentaries are useless. The commentaries given by devotees of the Lord are bona fide. No one can explain Bhagavad Gita or give perfect knowledge of Krishna if he is envious. One who criticizes the character of Krishna without knowing him is a fool. So such commentaries should be very carefully avoided. For one who understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pure and transcendental personality, these chapters will be very beneficial. Surrender unto me.
You want to read this?
Mamta Mataji, can you read this?
Yeah.
Mamta Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Only one who can learn the process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality.
So here you see, you have to learn the process of nescience and transference side by side. Can understand the influence of repeated birth and death, enjoy the full blessings and immortality. So you cannot just be one-sided, you know. You also have to learn how Maya works also. Yes? Then you will understand. Is it clear?
Yes, Prabhu, it is clear. Thank you.
So what other questions?
What are the other pastimes where Lord Krishna and Arjuna are together?
What is this? If we do not learn about everything around tomorrow, others will contaminate, convincing
That is a response to that. You can skip that.
Prabhu, there are other pastimes where Lord Krishna and Arjuna together. What are the other pastimes where Lord Krishna and Arjuna together? Well, you can read all of that in Mahabharata, you know. The pastimes of the Pandavas are explicitly spoken of in the Mahabharata. There are so many religions and philosophy. Which one to take and follow also? Which one to take and follow? Also, why? So this, we have to understand that we have so many things, but we have to follow in the footsteps of the Mahajans. You know? Unless you learn from the Mahajans in disciplic succession coming down, it is very difficult for you to understand this whole thing, you know. Then here, Mahajana ena sagata panta. So that is in the Srimad Bhagavatam 6:3. So here Yamaraj is saying to his Yamadutas, so here So there are 12 Mahajans. Anyone want to read this?
Mamta Mataji, you can continue.
Lord Brahma, Bhagavan Narada, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, Lord Kapila, the son of Devahuti, Swayambhuva Manu, Prahalada Maharaja, Janaka Maharaja, grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaja, Sukadeva Goswami, and I myself know the real religious principle. My dear servants, this transcendental religious principle, which is known as Bhagavata Dharma, or surrender unto the Supreme Lord and love for Him, is uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. It is very confidential and difficult for ordinary human beings to understand. But if by chance one fortunately understands it, he is immediately liberated and thus he returns home back to Godhead.
Can you read this?
In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna refers to Bhagavata Dharma as the most confidential religious principle. Sarva Guhyatamam Guhyataram. Krishna says to Arjuna, because you are my very dear friend, I am explaining to you the most confidential religion. Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Eka Sharanam Vraja. Give up all other duties and surrender unto me. One may ask, if this principle is very rarely understood, what is the use of it? In answer, Yamaraja states, hearing that this religious principle is understandable if one follows the Parampara system of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, and other standard authorities. There are four lines of disciplic succession, one from Lord Brahma, one from Lord Shiva, one from Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, and one from the Kumaras. The disciplic succession from Lord Brahma is called the Brahma Sampradaya. The succession from Lord Shiva Shambhu is called the Rudra Sampradaya. The one from the goddess of fortune Lakshmi ji is called the Shri Sampradaya. And one from the Kumaras is called the Kumara Sampradaya. One must take shelter of one of these four sampradayas in order to understand the most confidential religious system. In the Padma Purana, it is said, Sampradaya Vihina ye mantraste nishpala mataha. If one does not follow the four recognized disciplic successions, his mantra or initiation is useless. In the present day, there are many sampradayas or sampradayas which are not bona fide, which have no link to authorities like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the Kumaras, or Lakshmi. People are misguided by such sampradayas. The Shastras say that being initiated in such a sampradaya is a useless waste of time, for it will never enable one to understand the real religious principles.
So also it is says here, this verse is from the Mahabharata. Can you read?
Angel Mataji, can you read?
Hare Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued. Dry arguments are inconclusive. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. Simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path by which religious principles are understood. The solid truth of the religious principle is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self realized person. Consequently, as the Sastra confirm, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajanas advocate.
So you see, this is very important verse because the Mahajans, the solid truth is hidden in the heart an unadulterated self-realized person. So therefore, and that's now the parampara, we have, all the 12 Mahajans listed out. So in that line, our parampara is also coming. So therefore, to learn about God, this now is explained that we must go to the parampara. And when we connect to the parampara, then we can understand all this will be easily revealed to us. So which one to take, which one not to take, you have to know. That's why Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, Evam parampara proktam, Emam Raju Rishua Viduha. So this is coming down in an unbroken chain of spiritual master. Apparently it seems lost now. So I am reviving it again. See? So this is how it is understood. Evam parampara. See? So if you are not connected to the parampara, then this message is, you cannot understand. You cannot know the signs of God if you are not connected to the disciplic chain. So why there's so many? Because if you don't know, you'll be confused. But if you know, then you can pick out what is right and what is wrong. You see, so that requires some training, If you are actually having a proper spiritual master, he will teach you this thing. That's why in our Bhagavad Gita, as it is, you can see the disciplic succession is already listed out. Have you noticed that? Our Bhagavad Gita? Who's asking this question?
It's me, Prabhu. Yes, it is noted, Prabhu.
So there's a discipline. Nobody puts the disciplic succession in their Bhagavad Gita because they don't want to speak the truth. You understand?
Yes, Prabhu.
So unless you know, then you'll be confused. You'll think everything is all right. Of course, they're also talking about Krishna. Yes?
Yes.
You understand? So we cannot hear from non-devotees. Then it will become poison. Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Yes, agree.
So I heard that Srila Prabhupada said, since we were envious of the Supreme Lord Krishna, that is reflected on all other living entities, so we are all envious of others. But being devotees for some time, does that Anartha still continues? I never felt envious of the Lord, but may have felt envious of some people in the past. So it is says here in the Bhagavad Gita, I think it is Icha Divisa Samutena Sammoham Bharata. I think it is 727. So all the living entities who have taken birth under these two conditions, Icha and Divisha, desiring and hate or envy. So you want to read that?
Yes, Prabhu. O Scion of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate.
So it will also mean envy. Yeah? Hate is also envy. Can you read the book?
Yes, the real constitutional position of the living entity is that of the subordination to the Supreme Lord, who is pure knowledge. When one is deluded into separation from this pure knowledge, he becomes controlled by the illusory energy and cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The illusory energy is manifested in the duality of desire and hate. Due to desire and hate, the ignorant person wants to become one with the Supreme Lord and envies Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pure devotees who are not deluded or contaminated by desire and hate can understand that Lord Krishna appears by his internal potencies. But those who are deluded by duality and nescience think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is created by material energy. This is their misfortune. Such deluded persons symptomatically dwell in dualities of dishonor and honor, misery and happiness, woman and man, God and so good and bad, pleasure and pain, etc. Thinking, this is my wife, this is my house, I'm the master of this house, I'm the husband of this wife. These are the dualities of delusion. Those who are so deluded by dualities are completely foolish and therefore cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So these qualities of, they all come about when we don't control our mind. This is the problem actually. So all these things are coming about. The mind is the root cause of lust, anger, pride, greed, lamentation, illusion, and fear. Combine this constitute bondage to fruitive activity. What learned man would put faith in his mind? So becoming envious is not a very good quality among the devotees. Because if you envy the devotee, then spiritually it leads to a fall down. The enviousness is not a very good quality. You understand?
Yes, Prabhu. By making plans for determination, one should give up lusty desires for sense gratification. Similarly, by giving up envy, one should conquer anger. By discussing the disadvantages of accumulating wealth, one should give up greed. And by discussing the truth, one should give up fear.
So,
by discussing spiritual knowledge, one can conquer lamentation and illusion. By serving a great devotee, one can become prideless. By keeping silent, one can avoid obstacles on the path of mystic yoga. And simply by stopping sense gratification, one can conquer envy. Oh, simply by stopping sense gratification, one can conquer envy.
you can see how to conquer envy. Of course, if you want to stop sense gratification, you must become Krishna conscious. You cannot just not stop sense gratification. The senses, as we heard just now, Rishikena, Rishikesa Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. Proper way of stopping sense gratification is engaging the senses in the service of the Lord. No? Yes?
Yes.
If you don't serve the Lord, how are you going to stop sense gratification?
Yes.
Correct?
Correct, bro.
So it says in this verse, Sarva upadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam. So the proper way of engaging the senses is to engage in the service of the Lord. Otherwise, the senses, we engage in sense gratification, then all these things will come. Lust leads to anger, anger leads to greed, greed leads to envy. Huh? You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So we get caught, no? You follow?
Yes.
The whole science, that's why it's very important to understand this. Otherwise, we don't know. We will simply be messing everything up, no? There's fighting start, quarreling start. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they don't know why they are fighting. They cannot understand.
Yes.
394. Oh, 19170. So here this is explained about sense gratification. You want to read?
Can
Bhakti
we
or
have Payal?
devotional? Yeah, sure.
Can we have Payal Mataji read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Bhakti or devotional service means engaging all our senses in the service of Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of all senses. When the spirit soul renders service unto the Supreme, there are two side effects. One is freed from all material designation, and one's senses are purified simply by being employed in the service of Lord.
So this is from Narada. So you see, when you get free from the sense gratification, from material destination, when one's senses are purified simply by engaging in the service of the Lord. You understand? Bhakti or devotional service means engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord. No? So if we want to get free from sense gratification, we must engage all our senses in the service of the Lord. Then yes, everything comes off, you know. Yes,
Yes.
you can engage karma for the, trying to desire to be in the service of the Lord, you know. Karma, you can engage anger by using it against the non-devotees. 427. Let me find out this verse for you so you can understand that better. Where it is? Kama Krishna Arpane. Let me see where to get it. There's no listed. Kama Krishna Arpane. Krodha Karma Arpane. So this is very important to know. This verse is not here. This full verse is not there. Why? All right, so I read it to you. I will engage my lust by offering fruits of my work to Lord Krishna. I'll engage my greed by becoming greedy to hear the glories of the Lord in the association of saintly devotees. By not attaining my worshipper Lord Krishna, I will engage the quality of bewilderment, and I will engage madness by becoming mad to glorify the transcendental qualities of the Lord. In this way, I will spiritualize these material qualities for the service of the Lord. This is from Narottam Das Thakur.
So, which Kirtan, Prabhu? This one?
This one is from Prema Bhakti Chandrika.
Prema Bhakti. Okay.
Yeah, you have to find out where exactly this Prema Bhakti, and I have to take it for you. But nonetheless, you can take note. Huh?
Yeah, I'm
I will
taking notes.
engage
Prema
my
Bhakti.
lust. I will engage my lust by offering the fruits of my work to Lord Krishna. And I will engage my greed for becoming greedy to hear the glories of the Lord in the association of saintly devotees. By not attending my worshipful Lord Krishna, I will engage the quality of bewilderment. And I will engage madness by becoming mad to glorify the transcendental qualities of the Lord. In this way, I will spiritualize these material qualities for the service of the Lord. But you see here, one thing is missing, envy. How to
Yes,
use
Prabhu.
envy for the Lord is difficult, no? That's why enviousness is not a very good quality, you know. You can engage lust, you can engage anger, you can engage bewilderment, you can engage madness, you can also engage greed. But envy, you cannot use it at all, you know. You understand?
Yes.
So therefore, you know, quality of enviousness is not mentioned. You see, again, it is here in the 12th canto. 12th canto, the Srimad Bhagavatam, you can see in this verse. You can see here, I think we have overshot time, isn't it? I mean, going on and on. Huh?
These are all eye-opener, Prabhu, really.
So you can see here in this verse,
Pranam amalam yad vaishnavanam priyam. Paramahamsamekam amalam jnanam param giyate. Malapuran, yes. Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless Purana. It is most dear to Vaishnavas because it describes the pure and supreme knowledge of the Paramahamsas. This Bhagavatam reveals the means for becoming free from all material work, together with the process of transcendental knowledge, renunciation, and devotion. Anyone who seriously tries to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, who properly hears and chants it with devotion, becomes completely liberated.
we got the wrong verse. So here, see here in this verse, Nimat Saranam Satam. You see this verse here, Nimat Saram?
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, which means enviousness. Huh? This means it's pure in the heart. You got no envy at all, you know. So the point is this, completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavata Puranam propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in the heart. This highest truth is the reality distinguished from illusion from the welfare of. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam compiled by the great sage Vasudev in his maturity is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need for any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hear the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established in his heart. So you see, understand by devotees who are fully pure in heart, you know. So this enviousness cannot come into the heart, you know. The heart is a pure place, you know. You cannot keep all this kind of anarthas in the heart, you know. Hmm?
Yes.
The Lord also spoke about this. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke to Amoga, who is the son-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He said, your heart is a pure place where the Lord is sitting. So why you contaminate that place by keeping all these dirty things in your heart, you know? So enviousness is not a very good quality, you know? You understand?
Yes.
Therefore, we should learn how to give up enviousness. Especially, we cannot envy the spiritual master, you know? Spiritual master, that's why that verse is there, no? Acharya Vijanayam. Anusuvaye. 27, is it? Yeah. In this verse, Acharya Mam Bijanayam Nava Avamanyeta Karichit Namate Buddha Aisuyeta. This word means envious, So you cannot envy him, One should not be envious. Is that?
Yes, true.
So you cannot become, actually it's a bad quality, Can you read this?
One should know the Acharya as myself and never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man, for he is a representative of all the demigods.
So you can see how this envious quality is a setback for anyone who wants to make spiritual advancement, Hello. So therefore, to give up envy, it's not keeping yourself envious is not a very good quality. So I want to read you this verse about right here. We got so many calls today. I'm very sorry. So you can see here, this is spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Amoga. You can read this?
Yes, the heart of a Brahmana is by nature very clean. Therefore, it is a proper place for Krishna to sit. Why have you
Matsarya means
allowed
envious. Matsarya means enviousness. You see that? Matsarya?
Matsarya, jealousy, right? Enviousness.
Okay.
Why have you allowed the Chandala of jealousy to sit here also? In this way, you have contaminated a most purified place, your heart.
So you see that? Understand?
Here, Prabhu, I think, a Chandala was allowed in the house, or what was the context?
Chandala. Because jealousy is compared to Chandala, you cannot keep him in your house or heart or anywhere, Understand?
Okay. Oh. However, due to the association of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, all your contamination is now vanquished. When a person's heart is cleansed of all contamination, he is able to chant the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna.
In other words, if you keep all this enviousness, lust, anger all in your heart, you cannot really chant Hare Krishna, Especially when you are envious, your mind will be very much disturbed, Always thinking and envying someone. You understand? Are you following?
Yes, sir.
So therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him to give up this envy, So, because of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God, So he touched him and therefore he started chanting Hare Krishna and all his enviousness left him, So Mogwa then felt very bad and he was continuously slapping his face, because he was so, disturbed that he had all this, he made this offense to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the point I'm trying to make is that envy should not be in the heart of a devotee. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So it's not a very good quality. Yes, anything else? Finish, yeah? No more questions?
Not for today.
I hope you have understood this pretty well.
Yes, Prabhu, it was a wonderful session today. There were so many of other questions which got clarified.
It's all in Prabhupada books, actually, you know. So, okay, I think some people are new here. Who is Kartikeya?
That is Mamta Mataji.
Oh, Mamta, huh? Okay. So, okay, I guess I thank all of you for your wonderful association and keeping me busy.
Thank you so much for your association time, Prabhu.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranam,
Lord Sri
Krishna
Krishna.
Chaitanya
Dandavat
Prabhu.
pranam, Jai Srila
All glories to
Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat pranam, Prabhu. Jai
All
Srila
glories
Prabhupada.
to all of you, all glories to Prabhupada. Huh? Hare Krishna. Thank you again.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.